Good morning, everybody. This is Denise Tawwab back again with another video about the NIST Risk Management Framework. This video is based on NIST Special Publication 837, Revision 2. And in this presentation, we're going to talk about the 7 tasks that need to be carried out in the monitor step of the NIST Risk Management Framework. So what we're going to cover is the purpose of the monitor step. Why do we do that in the first place? And then the 7 monitor tasks and outcomes. Okay, it is 7. All right. Here's a visual of the steps in the NIST Risk Management Framework Revision 2. You start with the prepare step. You prepare at the system and the organization levels of the organization, at the system level and at the organization level. And then you categorize your systems, you select your controls, you implement the controls, you assess the implemented controls, you authorize the system, and then you monitor. And we're at the monitor step, the 7th and final step in the NIST Risk Management Framework. If you've been following me, I hope you're as happy as I am that we are finally on step 7. So let's get into it. This is a fairly lengthy presentation, so I'm going to move quickly. Please let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions or if there are other videos you'd like. But let me get into this. All right. The purpose. The purpose of the monitor step of the NIST Risk Management Framework is to maintain an ongoing situational awareness about the security and privacy posture of the information system and the organization in support of risk management decisions. There are 7 tasks that have to be done in the monitor step, and we're going to look at each one of those tasks in turn. The first task, M1, is system and environment changes. In task M1, you monitor the information system and its environment of operation for changes that might impact the security and privacy posture of the system. Potential inputs to task M1, system and environment changes, are going to be your continuous monitoring strategy, your configuration management policy and procedures, your organization's policies and procedures for handling unauthorized system changes, the system security and privacy plans, configuration change request and approvals, system design documentation, your security and privacy assessment reports, the plan of action and milestones for the system, and information from automated and manual monitoring tools. The expected outputs from task M1, system and environment changes, is going to be an updated system security and privacy plan, updated POAMs, and updated security and privacy assessment reports. And a POAM, again, is a plan of action and milestones. So who's responsible for system and environment changes? Primary responsibility goes to the system owner or the common control provider, the chief information security officer, and the chief privacy officer. Supporting roles could be the risk executive function in your organization, the authorizing official, the information owner, or the system security officer and the system privacy officer. But primary responsibility rests with the system owner or the common control provider, the chief information security officer, and the chief privacy officer. All right, systems are in a constant state of change. Still talking about task M1. Technology or machine elements changes to hardware, software, and/or firmware updates. Human elements change, people leave, there's a reduction in force, physical or environmental changes in the location of the facility, changes to the physical access controls that protect the facility. There's always change. A disciplined and a structured approach to managing, controlling, and documenting changes to systems and environments is going to be an essential element in security and privacy programs. Adhering to the terms and conditions of the authorization is also important. Organizations establish configuration management and control processes to support configuration and change management. NIST Special Publication 800-128 provides guidance on security-focused configuration management, and I'm actually working on that presentation as well. But note that the security-focused configuration management process described in 800-128 includes a related monitoring step. Anyway, too much. I'm going to keep going. All right. Common activities that cause changes to systems or the environments of operation can significantly impact the security and privacy posture of systems. And this could include installing and disposing of hardware, making changes to configurations, installing patches outside of the established configuration change control process, purposeful attacks by adversaries, and or inadvertent errors by authorized personnel. Somebody just made a mistake. Your organization will adhere to the established configuration management process while simultaneously monitoring for unauthorized changes to systems. Information about unauthorized changes that have occurred is analyzed to determine the root cause of the unauthorized change to the system. Organizations also continuously monitor systems and environments for any authorized changes that impact the privacy posture of systems. Once the root cause of an unauthorized change or an authorized change that impacts the privacy posture is determined, then you're going to respond accordingly. Once the root cause is determined, for example, in example 1, if the root cause of an unauthorized change is determined to be an adversarial attack, then a number of actions could be taken, such as invoking your incident response processes, adjusting intrusion detection and prevention tools and firewall configurations, or implementing additional or stronger controls to reduce the risk of future attacks. In example 2, if the root cause of an unauthorized change is determined to be a failure of staff to adhere to established configuration management processes, then remedial training for certain individuals may be warranted. So that's task M1, system and environment changes. Task M2 is ongoing assessments. In this task, you assess the controls implemented within and inherited by the system in keeping with your continuous monitoring strategy. So you're going to do ongoing assessments. Inputs to the ongoing assessments task would be organizational continuous monitoring strategy, the system level continuous monitoring strategy, if applicable, the system security and privacy plans, the security and privacy assessment plans, the security and privacy assessment reports, the plan of action and milestone, organization and system level risk assessment results, any external assessment or audit results, information from automated and manual monitoring tools. All of those inputs feed into the ongoing assessments task. The expected output from this task would be an updated security and privacy assessment report. The primary responsibility for ongoing assessments is going to be the control assessor. So, things to think about in ongoing assessments. After the initial system or common control authorization, then you assess all controls implemented within and inherited by the system on an ongoing basis. The frequency of monitoring for control effectiveness will be based on your organization's continuous monitoring strategy and can be supplemented by the system level continuous monitoring strategy as needed. Adherence to terms and conditions specified by the authorizing official as part of the authorization decision is also monitored. For ongoing control assessments, control assessors have the required degree of independence as determined by the authorizing official. In keeping with OMB Circular A130, an independent evaluation of privacy programs and practices is not required. So that person does not have to be independent. However, you can still choose to employ independent privacy assessors at your organization's discretion. The control assessments in support of the initial and subsequent authorizations are conducted by independent assessors. Assessor independence during continuous monitoring, although not mandated, introduces efficiencies into the process and may allow for reuse of assessment results in support of ongoing authorization and whenever reauthorization is required. To satisfy the annual FISMA, Federal Information Security Management Act security assessment requirement, Federal organizations can draw upon the assessment results from any of the following sources, including security control assessments conducted as part of authorization, ongoing authorization, or reauthorization, continuous monitoring, or the testing and evaluation of systems as part of the system development lifecycle, or an audit, provided that the assessment results are current, relevant to the determination of control effectiveness, and obtained by assessors with the required degree of independence. Bottom line, get independent assessors. Existing security assessment results are reused consistent with the reuse policy, and we discussed this in an earlier step. So you want to establish a reuse policy for your organization, and your assessment results are reused consistent with that policy, and those results are supplemented with additional assessments as needed. The reuse of assessment results is critical in achieving a cost-effective, fully integrated security program capable of producing the evidence necessary to determine the security posture of your information systems and your organization. The use of automation to support control assessments will facilitate a greater frequency, volume, and coverage of assessments. So that's task M2, ongoing assessments. Task M3 in the monitor step of the risk management framework is ongoing risk response. In this task, you respond to risk based on the results of ongoing monitoring activities, risk assessments, and outstanding items in plans of action, and milestones. Potential inputs to your ongoing risk response will be security and privacy assessment reports, risk assessment results both at the organization and the system level, system security and privacy plans, and the plan of action and milestones. The expected outputs from ongoing risk response would be mitigation actions or risk assessment decisions, and updated security and privacy assessment reports. Those assessment reports are continuously updated. Every time something changes, you want to update. All right, who's responsible for ongoing risk response? The authorizing official, the system owner, and the common control provider. All right, considerations for ongoing risk response. Assessment information produced by an assessor during continuous monitoring is provided to the system owner and to the common control provider in updated security and privacy assessment reports or via automated reports from your automated security, privacy management, and reporting tools, if you have one. The authorizing official will determine the appropriate risk response to the assessment findings, or the authorizing official will approve responses proposed by the system owner and the common control provider. The system owner and common control provider subsequently implement the appropriate risk response. When the response to risk is acceptance, the findings remain documented in the security and privacy assessment reports and are monitored for changes to risk factors. When the response to risk is risk mitigation, then the planned mitigation actions are included in and tracked using the plan of action and milestones. Control assessors may provide recommendations for remediation actions. Recommendations for remediation. Okay, this is my fifth video in a row, so I'm starting to fall apart, but we're going to get through this. Hang in there with me. Thank you. Recommendations for remediation action may also be provided by an automated security, privacy management, and reporting tool. Ongoing risk responses are informed by your organizational risk assessment and your system level risk assessment results. Controls that are modified, enhanced, or added as part of ongoing risk response are then reassessed. All right, so that's task 3, ongoing risk response. The fourth task in the monitor step of the risk management framework is authorization updates. In this task, you update security and privacy plans, security and privacy assessment reports, and plans of action and milestones based on the results of the continuous monitoring process. Potential inputs to authorization updates are going to be your security and privacy assessment reports, your risk assessment results at the system and organization levels, the system security and privacy plans, and your plan of action and milestones. The expected outputs would be updated security and privacy assessment reports, organization and system level risk assessment results, updated system security and privacy plans, and updated plan of action and milestones. Primary responsibility for authorization updates fall to the system owner and to the common control provider. Supporting roles may be played by the information owner or steward, the system security or privacy officer, and the chief privacy officer. Okay, let's talk about authorization updates and some things to consider. For you to achieve near real-time risk management, your organization will update security and privacy plans, security and privacy assessment reports, and POAMs on an ongoing basis. Security and privacy plan updates will reflect any modifications to controls based on risk mitigation actions that are carried out by system owners or by common control providers. Updates to control assessment reports reflect the additional assessment activities carried out to determine control effectiveness based on implementation details in the security and privacy plans. Your POAMs are updated based on progress made on the current outstanding items listed in the plan. Address security and privacy risks discovered as part of controls monitoring, and your POAMs describe how the system owner or the common control provider intends to address the remaining security and privacy risk. The updated information supports near real-time risk management and ongoing authorization by raising awareness of the security and privacy posture of the system and the common controls that are inherited by the system. The frequency of the updates is at the discretion of the system owner, the common control provider, and the authorizing official in keeping with federal and organizational policies, and is consistent with the organization and system level continuous monitoring strategies. So again, you have to have some structure around how this work is done. The updates are accurate and timely since the information provided influences ongoing security and privacy actions and decisions by authorizing officials and other senior leaders. The use of automated support tools and organization-wide security and privacy program management practices will help ensure that authorizing officials can readily access the current security and privacy posture of the system. This will provide essential information for continuous monitoring and ongoing authorization and promotes the near real-time risk management. All right, still talking about authorization updates. When you're updating security assessment plans, security assessment reports, and POAMs, ensure that information needed for oversight, management, and auditing purposes is not modified or destroyed. So you're doing version control. You're not updating the document. You're actually creating another version. An effective method of tracking changes to systems through configuration management procedures is needed, and it's needed to achieve transparency and traceability in the security and privacy activities of your organization, to obtain individual accountability for any security and privacy related actions, and also to understand emerging trends in the security and privacy programs of your organization. So keep that in mind. And that's task M4, authorization updates. The fifth task in the monitor step of the NIST Risk Management Framework is task M5, security and privacy posture reporting. In this task, you report the security and privacy posture of the system to the authorizing official and to other managers in the organization on an ongoing basis in keeping with the organization's continuous monitoring strategy. Inputs to security and privacy posture reporting include your security and privacy assessment reports, your POAMs, your organization and system level risk assessment results, your organization and system level continuous monitoring strategy, and your system security and privacy plans. The expected output from this task is your security and privacy posture reports. Okay, who's responsible for security and privacy posture reporting? Well, that's going to be the system owner and the common control provider and the chief information security officer and the chief privacy officer. Supporting roles can be played by the system security or system privacy officer. Okay, let's talk about things you need to consider when you're doing security and privacy posture reporting. The results of monitoring activities are documented and reported to the authorizing official and other selected managers on an ongoing basis in keeping with the continuous monitoring strategy of the organization. Other officials who may receive security and privacy posture reports include the chief information officer, the chief information security officer, the chief privacy officer, the risk executive function in your organization, the information owner, incident response roles, and contingency planning roles. Security and privacy posture reporting can be event driven, time driven, or event driven and time driven. Security and privacy posture reports provide the AO and others with information about the security and privacy posture of the systems, including the effectiveness of implemented controls. Your security and privacy posture reports describe the ongoing monitoring activities used by system owners or common control providers. Your security and privacy posture reports also include information about security and privacy risk in the systems and in the environments that are discovered during control assessments, during auditing and continuous monitoring, and how system owners or common control providers plan to address those risks. Your organization will have flexibility in the breadth, depth, formality, form, and format of security and privacy posture reports. Basically, you get to make it up and determine how you want it to look, but there are, of course, some items that need to be included. The goal is efficient ongoing communication with the authorizing official and others as necessary, conveying the current security privacy posture of systems and environments of operation, and conveying how the current posture affects individuals, organization missions, and your business functions. At a minimum, your posture report summarizes changes to the security and privacy plans, assessment reports, and PROAMs that have occurred since the last report. Automation will facilitate the effectiveness and timeliness of your posture reporting. The frequency of security and privacy posture reports is going to be at the discretion of your organization and in compliance with federal and organizational policies. Reports occur at appropriate intervals to transmit security and privacy related information about systems or common controls, but not so frequently as to generate unnecessary work or expense. So there has to be some balance in there. Your authorizing officials use the posture reports and consult with others to determine if a reauthorization action is needed. Your posture reports are marked, protected, and handled in keeping with federal and organizational policies. Security and privacy posture reports can be used to satisfy FISMA reporting requirements for documenting remediation actions for security and privacy related deficiencies. Reporting is intended to be ongoing and should not be interpreted as requiring the time, expense, and formality associated with the initial authorization. Instead, reporting is conducted in a cost-effective manner that is consistent with achieving the reporting objective. Don't make a big fuss out about it, but get it done. Okay. All right, that's task M5. We've got 2 more tasks. We are almost done. Hang in there. Task M6 is the ongoing authorization. In the ongoing authorization task, you review the security and privacy posture of the system on an ongoing basis to determine whether the risk remains acceptable. Potential inputs are going to be your security and privacy posture reports that we just talked about, the plan of action and milestones, the system level and organization level risk assessment results, and the system security and privacy plans. The expected outputs from this task of ongoing authorization will be a determination of risk, an ongoing authority to operate or an ongoing authority to use, an ongoing common control authorization, or denial of ongoing authority to authority to operate, denial of ongoing authority to use, and denial of ongoing common control authorization. So those can be the outputs from that ongoing authorization step. You can get a yes decision, you can get a no decision. Okay, who's responsible for ongoing authorization? Primary responsibility rests with the system owner, the common control provider, and the control assessor. So things to think about with ongoing authorization. The AO determines whether the current risk is acceptable and provides appropriate direction to the system owner or to the common control provider. The risk may change based on the information provided in the security and privacy posture reports, because the reports may indicate changes to any of the security or privacy risk factors. Determining how changing conditions affect mission or business risk is essential for managing your privacy risk and maintaining adequate security. By carrying out ongoing risk determination and risk acceptance, authorizing officials can maintain system and common control authorizations over time and transition to ongoing authorization. Reauthorization actions occur only in keeping with federal or organizational policies. The authorizing official conveys updated risk determination and acceptance results to the senior official for risk management or the risk executive function. Automation to capture, organize, qualify, visually display, and maintain security and privacy posture information promotes near real-time risk management regarding the risk posture. The use of metrics and dashboards increases your organization's capability to make risk-based decisions by consolidating data in an automated fashion and providing data to decision makers at different levels in the organization in an easy-to-understand format. So metrics and dashboards come into play. So that's step 6, ongoing authorization. We are at the last task in the 7 tasks associated with the monitor step of the NIST Risk Management Framework, and that is system disposal. What happens with respect to system disposal? Let's go see. In this task, you implement a system disposal strategy and execute required actions when a system is removed from operation. You don't just throw it in the dumpster. I know that's a simplification, but stay with me. Potential inputs to system disposal are your system security and privacy plans, your risk assessment results, and your system component inventory. Expected outputs are your disposal strategy, your updated system component inventory, and the updated system security and privacy plans. Primary responsibility for disposing of a system rests with the system owner, the common control provider, and the control assessor. Supporting roles can be played by any of the members on the security team. All right, things to consider with respect to system disposal. When a system is removed from operation, several risk management related actions are required. 1, you must ensure that all controls addressing system disposal are implemented. Examples include media sanitation, configuration management and control, and record retention. 2, you must update organizational tracking and management systems, including your inventory systems, to indicate that the specific system is being removed from service. You want to ensure that posture reports reflect the security and privacy status of the system. You want to notify users and application owners hosted on the disposed of system. You want to review and assess any control inheritance relationships for impact. And you want to update the inventory of information systems to reflect the removal of the system. These tasks also apply to system components that are removed from operation. So not just a full system, but also components of individual components of systems as well. And that is the last step in the last task in the monitoring step of the risk management framework. Thank you again for joining me and for listening. I appreciate your time and attention. I also appreciate when you like, subscribe, and comment. So please do so freely. I will read the comments. I will get back to you. Hope this has been helpful and have a great day. Thanks a bunch.